Scott Disick, he's like this arrogant man that tries to dress well, and he could dress well if he wasn't such a
Do you think it's inappropriate, disrespectful?
Disrespectful to who?
To me, and to your kids, and to all my family.
He's just an all-around.
If, like, you need to get your wet that badly, then get your wet.
Scott Disick is whack.
Scott Disick has a criminal past that he's trying to hide. When he was a teen, he and his friends would pose as wealthy men. They would flaunt their parents' wealth and convince teen girls to sleep with them. After Scott got the girls to his house, he would film their encounter without their consent. Then, once he was finished, he would take the girls' purses and steal their belongings. If these allegations are true, then Scott Disick is a monster. So let's get into it. As I was doing research about the Kardashians, I found this article on Scott Disick that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Supposedly, Scott has a criminal past, and these articles came out back in 2012, but they've all been swept under the rug. So the reason why we've learned about this story is because of this model named Brittany Raincheck, but I can't find much about Brittany on the internet, and for a model, there's really no pictures of her. So I don't really know where this woman came from, but she claims that she grew up around Scott. She's claiming that Scott would videotape himself hooking up with girls. We don't know if the girls have consented to this, but then he would steal from them after. And supposedly Brittany is a former friend of Scott's who dated one of his closest friends for 5 years. And she claims that they were in the same social group. I don't understand why Brittany was telling this story because she doesn't have much of a modeling career. She doesn't seem to be on social media. It doesn't appear that she sold this story, so why now? But she claims that Scott Disick videotaped these girls when he was a teenager and that he and his buddies had a system, some type of like scheme that they would trap these teenage girls in. Brittany said that Scott and his friends would pass themselves off as wealthy stockbrokers, pick up girls in the clubs in the Hamptons, get drunk with them, then take them back to their parents' home and claim the houses were their own. If you guys are wondering, Scott Disick comes from a very wealthy family. They were worth about $25 million, I guess, before they passed away. So he comes from money, and it makes sense that he would have these big mansions that he could show off. Scott coming from a family with money and acting kind of like this college douchebag is all part of his brand and part of the reason why people either love him or hate him.
Scott Disick, he's like this arrogant man that tries to dress well, and he could dress well if he wasn't such a
That's hysterical.
He walks and looks at people like they're much lower than him. He treats people like they're much lower than him. He's kind of greasy a little bit. He gets this look on his face where you just kind of want to slap him and like get it off of his face. Whenever some very attractive guys and arrogant, they're automatically put into the Scott pile. He's just an all-around. Scott Disick is whack.
That woman definitely humbled Scott. Scott's family inherited their wealth from Scott's grandfather, but supposedly Scott's parents lost all their money. Here's a little section from this article. It reads, though Scott's parents had money, they lost it all, but there is no documented evidence as to where the money went or why it was lost. Which, that's a major red flag right there. But let's get back to Scott and how he and his friends scammed these girls. Brittany said when the time was right, Scott and his friend would go through their handbags. I'm assuming after they had hooked up, he would then get their stuff and steal just about anything they could get their hands on, including cell phones, camera, cash, and even credit cards. At the time, Scott's lawyers put out a statement claiming that he denies everything, but Brittany says that Scott and his friends videotaped girls and stole from them more than 50 times in the years I was around him. She added, I think Scott got as good a high just from the actual things he stole. So not only is he setting up these women in a vulnerable situation, hooking up with them and then filming it, but then he's stealing their valuables afterwards. I mean, their phone, their wallet. How are they supposed to get home and be safe when you're stealing their stuff? And it actually turns out that Brittany's not the only person who's exposed Scott for this. Back in May, Scott Disick's childhood friend came forward admitting that he and Scott created sex tapes of themselves and various unknowing women, oh my god, on a daily basis, unknowing, so they didn't even know. His friend revealed, quote, we'd bring back different groups of girls to one of our houses and do various things to them. We tried to make it a daily routine, and some nights would be taped. There's probably a good 8 or 9 tapes. Whew. It actually turns out that it's Scott's old friend Donald who turned on him, and he told Life and Style magazine that Scott was obsessed with sex. We'd bring back different groups of girls and film these tapes, and I guess that was their sick fantasy. It does seem like Scott has a horn dog reputation. I mean, he cheated on Courtney at least 17 times throughout their relationship. And even back in high school, he used to have some interesting nicknames like Number 1 Scum and STD, which stands for, I guess, like a transmitted disease, but it's also his initials, so very fitting. Even though his lawyers deny everything, it all kind of makes sense because he's even opened up about his own sex addiction in the past. And really, his addiction led to his relationship ending with Courtney because he could not stop cheating on her, so ultimately she had enough self-worth to eventually leave him. In this one episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Scott Disick was in trouble after the family found out that he invited a girl named Chelsea onto their Costa Rica trip, which is supposed to be a family trip. At this point, his children are 7 years old, 4 years old, 2 years old. Why does he have a random girl on vacation with their family when he could be spending quality time with his children?
You can do whatever you want. Family
but
vacation. Don't you think it's inappropriate, disrespectful?
Disrespectful to who?
To me, and to your kids, and to all my family.
All right, so obviously, like, I did something wrong, as always. Like,
If like you need to get your wet that badly, then get your wet.
I love how Chloe defended Courtney in that moment. Like, I wish I had a sister like Chloe. But I also wouldn't be surprised if Scott was caught up stealing from these women because it looks like stealing runs in his family because his father, Jeffrey, rest in peace, was accused of stealing money from the Long Island town of Eastport. Scott's father was charged with a felony count of grand larceny for acting in concert with another person to steal in excess of $3,000 from the bank. He later pled guilty to charges of petite larceny and had to pay $6,500 back. So this is definitely not a good look for Scott Disick, but I found it really interesting how this story, it is reported on, but like only by small media outlets, and there's no videos, no one's really talked about this. And it's really creepy to think that he would like get together with his like teenage friends and like get these young girls to his house and would film them unknowingly. Yeah, that's just like, that's way too far and really disgusting, Scott. But I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Let's go ahead and open this P.O. Box package item. It looks like it's from Amazon, but hopefully it has a note on the inside. Well, I don't see a note in here, but it looks like someone sent me these like pride looking bracelets, which is really cute and sweet. Oh, nice. A little like suction moment. Look at that. Okay. Here's the bracelet. It looks really cute. Look, it's like rope string and then the rainbow just in time for Pride coming up. Thank you to whoever sent me this. Please send me an email so I can properly say thank you. And I'll see you guys in a new video soon. Bye, guys.